What's the best thing about jokes about Dorian Gray?
Is it that he drinks Earl Grey? No idea.
No, it's so the jokes don't grow old.
Oh no! How did I miss that? Oh, for God's sake!
And let's go into the podcast.
Fine.
Press enter to begin.
Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to episode 8 of CPOD, the Curse of the Enthusiast podcast. I am your host, Dorian, and yes, indeed, folks, I have found another elaborate way to introduce my co-host. Of course, it's Elle, back again.
That was so good. They're always good. Somehow you manage to beat them every week. They're better, but yeah, fair play. Hello, everyone.
Hi. So, it's been a fun week. We're a couple of weeks into January. Hope everyone's having a good time, a good 2016. And I hope everyone's getting lots of gaming in. Me, not so much. With a 3-year-old, it gets a bit... Well, he's obsessed with Dougie at the moment.
Can I just stop you there? Go on. You said 2016, so I could tell you having a great time with a 3-year-old.
I didn't. Did I say 2016? No
yes,
way! Oh, I'm living in the past, man. It's 2026.
You really are.
What happened to the last 10 years? Where have I been?
Is this what being a parent does to you? Is this the parent effect?
100%. Yes, is it. And if I had a 3-year-old in 2016, that means I've got a teenager living upstairs, currently having Bluey read to him. But no, you can tell I'm tired. Now, the little one's been a little bit ill over the weekend, so yeah, it's been a bit all hands on deck. But he's good. We're good. We're just, as I say, we're tired. But I'll stop prattling. Elliot, what have you been playing this week?
Ooh. I have should I say, more fitting is, banana, which will make more sense to you in a minute. So firstly, can't remember if I mentioned this last week, I have completed Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Hey,
I can't remember if I mentioned that.
You did not. So, nice one.
I did not. Excellent. I've completed every Xenoblade Chronicles game that has ever been made. So I'm very happy with that. Nintendo, Monolith Soft, you can now release your next iteration. Thank you. Goodbye. What have I been playing? So I'm now on to Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Nice.
Which is a great title. Made for the Switch too. I'm actually stealing Lauren's game on that one, I'll be honest. I couldn't gel with it at first. I really wasn't enjoying it. It's kind of been sold as like one of the... I don't know if it's been sold as, that's probably unfair to say. I think it's going to be one of the cult classic of the Switch 2. Now, I think, probably about 75% of the way through. I'm loving it. I even had a dream about it last night. It's so good.
That's impressive.
The difficulty is it's one of those, you can collect everything and spend 4 days. Yeah. It's one of those, you could, if you want to be like 100, if you want to be a completionist, you will get days and days and days worth out of it. Whereas for me, I'm kind of wanting to story, whip through it, enjoy it, put it down onto the next thing, because my backlog is massive. I've also been playing Halo Combat Evolved with someone you may know.
Yes.
Called
Hi.
Dorian. Yes, we've been playing that. That's been good fun. A lot of really good fun, actually. Haven't been playing anything else. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, Pokemon Blue, I think that might be it. I'm trying to just work through... Oh no. I've also been playing Golden Compass on Nintendo DS and Golden Compass on Nintendo Wii. So quite a few games this week. Sorry. How about you? What have you been playing?
Yeah, I've got a bit of news of my own. So, as those remember, we started a bit of a challenge for me, as it were, in which I create a journal for 2026. I got the right year this time. I created a list of games that I know I wanted to complete this year, and I've completed the first one. So the first one was Tenchu, as you guys have been hearing. I've been playing that for weeks, and I finally completed it the other day. There's 2 characters, but both characters actually have the same missions, so I don't realistically need to do both characters. I can do just one. And I actually quite enjoyed it, so I wrote a little review in my journal and gave it a good score, which was about 7 out of 10, because I said that the cutscenes and the voiceover especially was absolutely laughable. I'll give you an example in a moment. But generally, the stealth gameplay was great. And one of the things I liked about it is that if I died and tried to repeat the level, memorizing it only did so much, because a lot of the characters and the enemies' positions actually changed just enough with each gameplay that I kind of have to go, hang on a minute, where are they? And they've just moved a couple of meters away and stuff like that. So not got to completely change my tactics, but I've got to do. It changes just enough to keep me on my toes, and I can't just memorize it and fly through it. So it's great in that regard. You do feel like you've got to work things out, and you've got to be stealthy because that's the best way to get through your mission. But there's one boss, a couple of missions towards the end, where they're in this big cult thing. They're guarding a statue, but they're talking about a stone that they've hidden inside their stomach, and it's so cheesy because they go something along the lines of, "You want the stone? It's safe in my belly. You're not going to get it." And then the fight begins. And I'm like,
oh, that's brilliant.
What? Who's been smoking what when they were doing these voiceovers? But yeah, very, very odd voiceover acting, but all in all, great game. So now that I've completed that, the next one on my list for the PlayStation 1 is Dino Crisis. So I think I'm going to start that this week.
Ooh. I'm excited to. Sorry, every time I do that, I'm just banana. When you play that game, it's one day you'll realise why. But yeah, that's a big one for you. That's a big. Have you completed Dino Crisis before, right?
Dino Crisis 2, yes. Dino Crisis 1, no. I keep getting stuck because
no way.
There's these weird keycard things that require a fair bit of thinking. Because I think you've got to combine certain keys to get through certain doors and stuff. And not only do you have to keep sort of going back and forth to work out these keys, but you're only armed with a tranquilizer gun. And the raptors respawn every time you exit or enter a room, which makes it even more difficult because you're limited on your ammo, and the enemies don't just... It's not like Resident Evil. If you kill a zombie in the corridor, that zombie's gone for good. These raptors will keep getting up and keep chasing after you. So it's a very difficult game, but I swear, even if I have to go through a walkthrough at the stuck bits to help me out, I'm going to try my best to get through it this time around, so I'll keep you updated.
Fair play. I admire that. And I will meet that with, there'll be some sort of game that I'd usually shy away from, but just for this, I'm gonna brute force my way through it. So yeah, fair play. You've inspired me on that one.
No worries. I'll tell you what I did do, because it's not the only game I've played. I played a little bit more of Death Stranding 2, but the problem is I have not picked that game up in ages, and I've still not completed it yet, so it's still on my list. But I did that thing the other day where you go, oh, you know what? I'm in the mood for that. Pick up your controller, you hit like play or whatever, and you're straight into your mission, and then you go, oh god, how do I do this again? Where was I? What was the control scheme? Is that scan? How do I get back into... And I had to spend like a minute or two relearning the controls before I go, oh, okay, I think my muscle memory's kicked back in now, so I think I can carry on.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I think that's the benefit of actually logging the games that you're playing. So, yeah, I mean, I've gone through so many games that I'd like played so much of but hadn't completed, but because you've got that list, you're then very hyper aware that, I should finish that really. So a bit like I'm going to finish, so today, this is linked to what you've been playing, because I haven't played it. I got the Nintendo Wii out, and reconnected it all, and I've got it through RCA. We do actually have a HDMI adapter, but it introduces latency and the picture looks better, but I feel like you sacrifice quite a few other things, so I quite like it going through. I'm assuming it's RCA. It's, you know, the yellow, red and white cables that go into then like a 3.5mm into the TV. It's very odd, but yeah, set that up. So it's and that's fantastic. So I'm going to play through Red Steel. So like I can't remember any of the controls. And there's loads of scenes where you have like a katana, and you've got to use the Wiimote to kind of like defeat the sort of boss in that battle.
That's cool.
But yeah, I'm going to do quite a bit of Wii gaming, I think, as well. Now, what we do have coming up is we'll be going to the Leeds gaming market. That's myself and Lauren, unfortunately. So you're unable to join us this time. I'm on the hunt for either a lime green Game Boy Color that's potentially been modded, or a Nintendo DS Lite. But in general, Wii games, GameCube games, and Game Boy games are going to be pretty heavy on that front. So hopefully that's going to be a really good podcast that week, and I can come back and say I've got to lose. So that's a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, so I do think that going back and playing those games is some real satisfaction. Like you've actually completed Tenchu. I mean, that's awesome. That you must feel good about that because it looks like quite a hard game as well, to be honest.
It's not too difficult. The end boss did seem a little bit impossible. I'm not going to lie. I googled not how to kill him, but tips. And then the second time round, it was actually quite easy as soon as you figure out how to get around him. So yeah, no, it was pretty good. But moving on just a little bit. So obviously you were talking a bit about how to use your Wii remote for using it like a katana and stuff like that. We're going to go into today, as we mentioned last week, a little bit into AR and VR experiences, which are a whole unique way to play games. I did have a smoother transition into that topic, and I kind of lost it. Hence, I've just stumbled over everything I've just said. My apologies.
It's all right. I mean, you're just sort of like bending the will of reality, really, aren't you? As to kind of seamlessly sort of sink into augmenting reality could have been an even better way of saying.
Yep. So you've got more experience with AR and VR than I have. I've tried a couple of VR headsets. My PS Vita has an augmented reality feature built into it with its rear and its front cameras. The AR cards came with it when you buy it. But its use is very limited. One of the things that I was really looking forward to when I bought my PS Vita is that there's one Wipeout game that came out for it, which was Wipeout 2048, which is a great game. And then when they advertised it, they said, oh, you can also view your ships in full AR, so you can view it as if it's on the table in front of you, and then you can move your camera around the AR card to see what it looks like in reality. Never happened, never worked, which was thoroughly depressing. But that's my experience with AR. That's pretty much it.
What I love is, whilst I think we both unite on an Xbox front, I think both, I would say, of our niches is you're very much a Sony pony PlayStation man, and I'm very much a Nintendo fanboy. I don't know what the Nintendo sort of nickname for that would be. But it's interesting because my AR experience largely comes from the 3DS XL that I had. And the AR in that was brilliant. It worked really, really well, I must admit. The main thing, we would take a picture of you and put it into these sort of flying helicopter faces, and you'd sort of run around your room shooting them. It was very hard, but it worked really well. It's that kind of Nintendo always seem to cram in a weird feature, and they'll either use it to a point that it blows you away, or you just never see it. It's kind of an odd thing. But I always find it interesting to compare to what Sony do. And it's really interesting because we both have those sort of like raw experiences.
Yeah, it's...
But in terms of...
Go ahead, sorry.
In terms of the VR, I know you're saying obviously you had the original PSVR, which was one of the first times that I tried VR, and good God, that made me feel sick. So how was your experience with your VR?
Yeah, I was excited to buy one when I first got it because I saw it on Facebook Marketplace for about 150 quid, and when I went to go pick it up, it turns out I kind of knew the guy through someone, and he did me a deal for 100. So for 100 quid, I got a boxed PSVR Model 2. With everything included, which was great, and I had some games already that were VR compatible. One of which was another Wipeout game, which was, I think, the Omega Edition, and Star Wars Battlefront, which had like one VR mission, but we used that as our tester, as it were. So I brought it home, and it was great. I thought, this is kind of cool. My glasses get in the way a little bit, so it was a bit awkward with that. But once I had it on and once I had the controller thing, it was fine. And the Star Wars mission is great, but that's all it was good for, because the moment I went to go to Wipeout, there were 3 settings that you could have for your VR. So there was it will either track to pilot, track to ship, or track to track. Now, if the headset locks to the track, it means that if you move your head around, it's not too much, and it won't move away from the track. So if the ship moves, your VR won't move with it. If you track to the ship, then if the ship moves, the VR will, alongside and it's not awful. However, if you lock to pilot, then it comes up with a warning that says, this will make you sick. Are you sure you want to do this? And I went, yeah, I want to try it. Wipeout in VR as if I'm in my own ship. I've always wanted to try that. One race and you have to take it off, and you just go, oh my God, no, nope. But I do recall you saying that it's not so much to do with the movement as it is the frame rate, because you've said that you've used VR machines with higher frame rates and you felt absolutely fine after using them.
Yeah, so we had the Quest 2, and I used to use it for sim racing. So what was it, probably 4 years ago, something like that. We had full sim rigs, and we had the VR Quest 2, and yeah, as long as the frame rate was high, and I think that reached 60 from recollection. Never made me feel sick. And I heard, paraphrasing here, so please forgive me, but I think it was saying basically when you miss frames, your brain tries to fill those spaces in, and your brain actually thinks then that you've essentially taken some poison of some form. So what it tries is it tries to go, you're not actually computing everything you should be seeing, so I'm going to make you sick to get rid of that poison that you've consumed, and that's why you get motion sick. I think that's what motion sickness actually is. So yeah, very odd, but obviously the PSVR was kind of one of those, it's almost like a proof of concept, isn't it? I think it laid the foundation for a lot of others to kind of scale up, and unfortunately when it was released it was very well polished, but then you had people like Oculus at the time who could then capitalise on that gap in technology, and they could go, aha, right, we'll announce ours. I think I remember playing Gran Turismo on yours and feeling very, very sick, and it was rough. It was rough.
Yeah, there was one Gran Turismo track that you could do that I think was sort of like out in the desert somewhere, and you could look around your car. That wasn't too bad, but the moment the car started moving, it started to, you get one lap and then you go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm starting to feel this. The other, this is a me problem. I doubt anyone else would have the same issue unless they have the same allergy as I do. One of the things I did not like about the PSVR is the fact that the entire casing around it, where it rests on your head, was silicone. I happen to be allergic to silicone, so after about half an hour's worth of use, thinking I've had a good gaming session, and not only would I feel sick, but my face would come out in a rash because my skin reacts to it. So that's another reason to get rid of it.
It's an odd one, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, the Oculus worked pretty well. So I also played a game that was, oh God, I can't remember the name of it. It was a shooter. And you could do sort of World War II, or you could do just sort of normal modern day, and you could do team deathmatch and that sort of thing. It was good, but the whole thing for VR is it's exceptionally inconvenient. You have to have a more powerful PC to back it up to play something, of warrant, really.
Yeah.
And it's just everything you do, you've got to move all of your surroundings, you've got to hook it up to the PC, you've got to sort the cable, now the headset doesn't feel all right. And after a while, for me, it wasn't just the faff, it was also strapping it to your head, having this like relatively heavy thing compressing into your head and then sweating like mad. But sometimes as well is you're not really burning many calories. There's not much fitness benefit to the games that we were playing, but you were sweating like mad because it was just deeply uncomfortable. So it's kind of like, I really like the technology and I want that to improve. So looking at the Steam frame, kind of excited to see the route that can go with some polish.
Yeah.
But it's just the whole inconvenience of it is just what almost put me off. What we did play though was a lot of Beat Saber, and we modded it through Steam. So you could, sort of import other people's songs. So we were like, one of the best things, fun enough, was musicals. It was really good getting into that. And that kind of got us through COVID a little bit. So that was good fun. But yeah, we did sell that. And now AR, if you can have, I think there is that, the company that has recently released them, where you can get AR glasses, where you can, literally sort of put a big screen in front of you of, I think it's something like 150 inches, I think. Is the limit of how big that you can go on that.
Right.
That'd be great. It's also got sort of a tinted lens as well. So as soon as it detects that you're not looking at the screen and you move away, it removes the tint so that you can actually see out the glasses. And then as soon as you want to go back to the game, you look at the screen and it darkens all the tints again, so you have less sort of interference when you're looking at that screen. From recollection, I think it was between £300 and £500. So to be honest with you, it wasn't dreadful, the price either.
It's not awful, no.
If you were in a small flat, maybe, like we were many, many years ago, I mean, that'd be great, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's an interesting one. But for me, I don't know, it's the inconvenience kind of backs me into a corner where it's like, yeah, I could, but I could just play the Switch handheld or on the TV. It's the opposite of the inconvenience, and that's still good for me. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where we end up with the Steam Frame. So what are your thoughts for VR AR moving forward?
I think the closest I got to being sort of comfortable with using AR wasn't exactly AR or VR. My TV before I had this one was a hand-me-down from my dad. And it was a Sony 3D TV that came with the Active 3D glasses. And PS3 games used Active 3D. Some specific ones are Doom 3, the BFG edition. Uncharted 3 used it. I believe, again, Wipeout used it as well. And I remember having some fun with it. But the fad with 3D was that after a while you kind of forgot it was there. And you were just like, oh, okay. Your eyes adjusted and you played with it as normal. With VR, I'm yet to use a headset that I feel comfortable wearing, like that not only sits okay on my glasses so I can look through my glasses through the VR headset, but one that doesn't make me feel motion sick and one that's not silicon based and is not going to react with my skin. So I think I've got a bit of a ways to go before I find one that says, yep, that ticks all the boxes for me. I've also got to find one that doesn't take like a grand PC to run.
Well, that's what's interesting with those AR glasses. So they have like a throughput for a Switch, like a USB-C throughput. So you just plug it in and it will just detect it as a monitor. But also when you order them, if you have glasses, you give them your prescription and they actually put the lenses on the inside. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a glasses inside the glasses sort of thing. So you wouldn't need to wear your current glasses. So that's something that might work. But me and you have televisions. And we could play handheld, so it's kind of, it doesn't offer us a big enough benefit yet. It kind of goes back to the point we've said before, where sort of the steep sort of increase in technology seems to have just plateaued out, really, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because I think the big thing that we're seeing at the moment is because of the state of the tech world, RAM, resources, etc., cost, more people are going back to that backlog and enjoying the things that they've got, which I think is actually something amazing. I think we're kind of experiencing a resurgence in what it means to play games because of the limitations that we've got. But it does mean those sort of fancy features that don't offer us enormous benefits. They're very cool things, and we'd never say no to them if we could get them. But it's, yeah,
I also
what's your thoughts?
Believe it's one of those things. I'm a bit of a cinephile, as it were. I love cinema. I love film. Whenever I'm watching a film on my TV, my TV is set that it will reduce it to 24 frames and not try and animate over it to make it look smoother, because film, as far as I'm concerned, should be 24 frames. And the same kind of goes for gaming in that not so much the frames per second, but the way that I see and play a game. For me, it's got to be on a screen. Now, yes, it can be a tiny screen in front of me, or if it's a big cinematic game, it's got to be on a big screen. And similarly to a CRT, if I'm playing a PlayStation game or a Mega Drive game, it's got to be on a CRT. Can't play that thing on HD TV because it just looks weird. And I do think that, to an extent, a lot of gamers are set in those ways in that gaming does have to be on a TV. Similarly to when Peter Jackson did The Hobbit and he says, oh, you know what, I'm going to shoot this in 48 frames per second. And everyone looked at it and just went, no, I'm not watching that. Put it back. So he put it back, and now it's 24 frames a second. So maybe it's simply that these headset peripherals and these AR peripherals, they're a bit of a fad, but initially people want to be able to view their content and their games either on the phone, the screen in the hands, or the big screen in front of them. AR might have its uses. For example, when it comes to, I don't know, checking the weather while you're having a walkabout and stuff like that, or you can get VR tutorials on how to do stuff. So again, as a tool, might come in handy. But in terms of for gaming, I still think VR is a bit of a fad that's potentially dying out. But I could be wrong. It could come back in a big way.
I think the Steam Frame is it's either going to make it or break it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think that's it's either going to be the pinnacle of it, and oh my god, this does work, this can be done, or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But speaking of peripherals,
but that takes Oh, he did it. I was going to do one, and he did one. He did an even smoother
Great
one.
minds think alike.
You go for it, sir.
All right, thank you kindly. So, yeah, talking about gaming peripherals, it leads us on to our next topic, which we said we were going to keep a little bit of a secret, which is our favourite peripherals for our games consoles. So, I imagine that you've probably had a few more of these than I have, because I've had a couple, but you seem to be the big collector here, as it were.
I was giggling away from the microphone then, because I've got a couple. But funnily enough, okay, so Switch 1, Hori split pads, so that you're not using these tiny Joy-Cons where your fingers are just going to sleep and it's a horrible experience. A proper controller either side of the slab, brilliant. Do you know what I'm going to say is probably my favourite peripheral of all time? Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculous, and it's the most boring answer, and it's not one you would expect.
Go for it.
Nintendo Wii, the controller that they released that plugged into the Wiimote. So for certain titles, like I got the Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate Special Edition, and of course, because I was younger and silly, I ended up selling all of the things or getting rid of them, and wish I'd kept it all. But the black gloss controller, it was like the Wii. You were bound to using the Wiimote, which is great for some games, but back then, you kind of Nintendo was, I don't know, I felt like it was screaming out to have a proper controller, and it just changed how I viewed the Nintendo Wii, and it opened it up so that I then started playing other games. So I'd probably say the normal controller that you plug into the Wiimote, which is the most boring answer you could possibly have.
It counts.
I'm trying to think if there's any other peripherals that I've had. If you can think of something I've had, please do feel free to jump in. But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't actually think of anything else.
See,
I just really liked that controller.
You have had a lot of consoles, but when it comes to like something that stick into the console just for the sake of having it, I can't think of anything particularly major or different that you've had. There's one thing that surprised me greatly about Nadia, because when we were talking peripherals, I think she wanted me to mention, I can't remember if she said that she wanted me to mention, but she did enjoy the Kinect when she was younger. She swore by the Kinect. She said it was great. And I remember thinking, well, it was okay. I don't remember anything particularly special about it. I had a friend that had one at university, and I remember there was a big controversy surrounding Xbox when they were forcing people to use the Kinect for certain interfaces when the Xbox, was it the One? The Xbox One came out, they came boxed with it, whether you liked it or not.
Yeah, they reverted it. I think it was in one of the initial sales things, wasn't it? They said it was going to be always online, and it means that the camera would also always be online, and they would have a legal obligation if it witnessed something illegal to report it. And I think that's what got a lot of people's backs up. But I think part of that was reverted. I think you could disconnect it when it released. Just before, I'm going to let you finish, but before I do say anything else, I completely agree with Nadia. It was brilliant. It was so good.
Maybe I didn't play enough of it. Maybe I just didn't play the right games. So I do remember the Kinect being a big thing. It was very similar to the iToy for the PlayStation 2, because the PlayStation 2 had a similar kind of concept in which that you move around in front of this camera and something in the game would interact. But it wasn't so much based on checking for your movement as I think it was looking for changes in contrast, which comes with its flaws. Similarly to like a camera's autofocus or autofocus back in the early days. For me personally, however, it came as a bit of a surprise to me when I was trying to think, what is my favourite peripheral? I do have a few. For example, I've got a little like a handle for my PS Vita to make it grip a little bit more comfortably, but I still find that the buttons are just a bit small. They just make it a little bit easier to hold. But I've also got, it's not worth much, but I'm still proud of it, a boxed PlayStation 1 mouse, complete with everything. So it's got the inserts, it's got the little mouse mat, which is in pristine condition. It's got the roller ball for anyone that's older than 25 years on this podcast listening. You remember that? If you're in school, or even but further beyond that, you had to unscrew the bottom and take the ball out and make sure it was clean, and then put it back in, screw it back on, put it on the mouse mat, roll it around. Still didn't work, so he was stuck with a broken mouse for the rest of your IT lesson. It's that kind of mouse. It's great. And one of the things that I really like about it was primarily designed for sort of click adventures for the PlayStation 1. But I've got a game that it has extremely unique use for, but it also ties into something for the PlayStation 3. Alien Resurrection is a first-person shooter that is highly underrated for the PlayStation 1. It's one of the first games ever to utilize dual analog controls, one for moving and then one for looking. And back in the day, reviews were like, this will never catch on. Little did they know. But it's got 3 different ways of controlling it. You can either control it with just a standard controller, you can control it with the dual analog DualShock, or you could plug in one controller and use half of that controller for your movement, and then the PlayStation mouse, which you would use for looking and shooting. And you get used to it very quickly. And it's genius because it's so accurate as well, so much more accurate than the dual analogs, which are very clunky. And it's very difficult to change the sensitivity of them as well. But the reason it felt so familiar is because when I was using it, it immediately reminded me of using the PlayStation Move for the PS3. And I think that's probably my favourite peripheral because a lot of people hated that thing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I remember I went over to my dad's probably at some point in 2011, 2012, and we both had PlayStation Moves. I took it over to his, and we had a game of, I think it was Dead Space Extraction. We got through the entire game in one night and had a right laugh. And it was very similar to a Wii controller in which you've got 2 sides, a nunchuck kind of thing, and then the actual movement control as well. And you could play some entire games just using those controls. And they were surprisingly fun. Some of them were a bit gimmicky, don't get me wrong. I've also got a lot of memories with my little sisters because they were tiny when the PlayStation 3 came out and they had Little Big Planet 2 and this invisible animal thing that they could interact with a story and then it'd be on the TV and stuff. I remember a lot of people really hating on the PlayStation Move, thinking, oh, this is just, it's rough, it's a gimmick. And I enjoyed it. I would half be tempted to pick one up again if I could, but they're apparently quite difficult to get a hold of now. But I think for me, it's either between the PlayStation Mouse, just because of how unique it is for that one game, or the PlayStation Move, which I think didn't get enough credit.
Good to see that we're both stuck to our first parties there, you know. You've gone Sony and I've got Nintendo. Yeah. We're so original. But I know the PlayStation Move was utilised for a lot of VR. So on PC, I think basically they got modded and used a lot on PC, and that really drove the prices up. Similarly as well for Kinect, I don't know if you know, but the Kinects are still used. They're used in construction, they're used in modelling, they're used in health environments, I'm pretty sure, because it creates like a wireframe around that object, and it's been absolutely mega for scanning items in for games and things. So yeah, do a bit more research on the Kinect. It's more powerful, I think, than you might expect, because it shocked me when I saw its use outside of just for gaming.
I think one of the...
What I do remember is...
Oh, go on, sorry.
No, you go, sir.
I think one of the things that I did remember reading about the Kinect is that, of course, it has 2 cameras to sort of generate a 3D environment based on the 2 different angles, but I think the sensors for each camera are also quite large, which makes a big difference when it comes to your picture quality, especially if you're doing video. So I do remember reading the specs on the Kinect and thinking that's surprisingly impressive for something that's designed just for a little bit of gaming here and there. So yeah, that's awesome.
I remember. So I don't drink alcohol at all. I am alcohol free, and when I was much younger, I remember we were at a friend's house and there'd been lots of drinking and it was an absolute giggle, and we were playing some golf game on the Kinect. But what was fantastic is, say if you got like a hole in one, or say if you did something ridiculous, it would actually record the video clip. So it would go from capturing your image to actually recording with one of the cameras. And then at the end of that sort of that hole, and at the end of the course, it would start playing you these video clips. So like as things have happened, it will show you the video of what was going on. And it was more funny seeing what everyone else was doing in the background when that was going on. So it was brilliant. I look back at the Kinect quite fondly.
It does make me kind of want one. Fun games like that, where it's not to be taken seriously, it's just a bit of fun between you and family or friends and whatnot. Sometimes I think that's missing from gaming nowadays. The ability to sort of get together as a group of people in one place and say, right, we're going to have fun with these games.
It kills me hearing you say that. It really does, because it's true. But also, that's like one of Nintendo's. Of course, it is. I should be on commission at this point, but it is. It is one of Nintendo's selling points. You know, the couch co-op. If you was to come round tonight, you know, we have so many games. You could be, what do you want to play? Mario Party, Lego Party, Mario Tennis. You know, there's so many different things that are designed to be played with friends and with people. So yeah, I do completely agree. And it's almost nice. I noticed the other day. This will make you happy. This is about PlayStation. I noticed the other day that when you got us the PS2, I forgot that I went quite hard on the peripherals. So I've got a multi-tap. So I got a multi-tap and like 5 controllers or something ridiculous. Because I wanted to get a group of us all playing Time Splitters 2, but alas, it never happened, but I've got it. So yeah, we definitely need to get that set up. I mean, I've put the GameCube out as a display item today next to my DS. So yeah, I should probably at some point we should find somewhere to get some Sony stuff out, because it might just, if anything, I think it might lure you, it might bait you to come round.
Potentially.
Just start
I can
Sony
smell the
around.
Sony from here, but at the moment he's got a little Nintendo shrine going on at the moment, haven't you?
It's not. Well, A, it's not little, and B, there's more than one. So yeah, my life is just one big Nintendo shrine. So moving on then. So we were gonna, usually in this segment, of course, we do news. But we'll be quite honest with you. We've had a look, and the news is a little bit depressing at the moment. So we want to do something slightly alternative. So Dorian, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Well, I can't remember what we were going to talk about, but I had a bit of an idea of, instead of looking forward to seeing, or looking at the present to see what's going on now, why don't we take a look back into what happened? So we're both, of course, into our retro gaming. I have a few issues of Retro Gamer, and every now and then they'll go in and look back at what was released on this day. And I thought to myself, is there a website that's dedicated to doing that? And lo and behold, mobygames.com. If you go onto there, it'll tell you what happened in gaming history on this day, and it'll go by whatever day it currently is. So, as of recording, January 18th. And so it's given us a list of all of these games that came out January 18th, all the way back to, I think the first one that's on here is 1978. Hockey, the Sol 20 version in the United States, was released. I think this is a fantastic little thing to sort of go through and go down memory lane and go, wow, that's that old? Oh, I remember this game, etc. So I think we're going to have a little look through Moby Games and see what strikes our fancy here, what came out. So
I want to break this down into 2 parts, if this is okay with you.
Go for it.
Firstly, find a game for yourself, and find a game that you think the other person would like.
Oh, okay. Well, so one thing that has popped up that you said you weren't particularly interested in, which hurts me a little bit, but I get it, that's fair, was Mass Effect 2 was apparently released on this day in the United Kingdom in 2011, which is 15 years ago. So I'm gonna browse past that one. Let's have a look.
So is that the one that you would like to play then, is it?
No, not necessarily me. I think that was just I just wanted to throw that one out there to say, hey, here's an example, a very good example. So I'm looking through this list, and actually there are some games in here which makes me go, really? So okay, I've got one.
Makes you feel old, doesn't it?
It does, really, really does. I've got one. How about yourself? What you currently got your eye on?
Okay, I had gone through quite a few of them, and I was struggling to find. I was panicking, struggling to find them. I had seen one for you, but I'll be honest, it was, well, no, it's funny. We'll see. Okay, no, I found one for you. Okay, I've got yours dialed in. I just need mine now.
See, I am struggling a little bit.
This is quite a good website.
Ooh, all right. Actually, I think I've got one. If my choice for yours turns out to be your choice for mine, then there's a definite vibe going on.
Okay, let's go for it. Okay, so let's do our own first. What would you like to? That was released today. What game would you play?
Well, I did not realise that. Is it Gravity Rush 2 was released 9 years ago today on the PlayStation 4. Not necessarily here in the UK. It was in Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Switzerland. I've got Gravity Rush 1 for my PS Vita. I didn't complete it. Probably should go on my list, but I did enjoy it. It's a very unique and very fun game. And I remember it was big enough that Gravity 2 got released on the bigger consoles. What hurts me the most is that 2017 was 9 years ago. That's painful. But yeah, there we go. That's my choice for me. Gravity Rush 2 from 2017, 9 years ago today.
Okay, my choice for me, that was released today. I had scrolled past it. I found it now. It was, oh my god, 19 years ago.
Ooh.
Oh, good gosh, 2007. So I would have still been in secondary school. You would have left back 20 years ago. Yeah, 2007. I was still in secondary school. So Wario Master of Disguise was released on Nintendo DS, and it was the Japanese version. But it looks quite interesting. I'm just going to give you a little line from here.
Okay.
Wario's head, a helmet, changes him into Cosmic Wario and gives him the power to blast laser beams. What more do you need? I'm sold.
That's pretty cool, to be fair. I did play, I think I had Wario 4 for the Game Boy Advance years ago. It was fun. The WarioWare games, not the WarioWare games, but the Wario games, they are pretty good platformers in the way that you have to work your way out of each level. It's not just go from A to B like a standard Mario game.
I like them. They're very different. That's the thing. And especially, you talked about the party games earlier. The Wario ones are fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to move on to the game that I'd pick for you.
All right, so
it is compatible with... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, let's see if I can gauge this. How long ago was it released?
This was released on January 18th, obviously. I think that bit I probably didn't need to specify. It was 2011.
Ah, so we're not on the same vibe then. So 2011. Okay. So, all right, yeah, you go ahead. Tell me what you picked out for me.
So this was a action game, and it was 2D scrolling. Have a guess.
Ooh, action 2D. All right, off the top of my head. 2011. I do remember a game that came out for the PS3 in 2011. Not 2011, but I had it on the early days of the PS3 called Hell Yeah. Which was a...
It is not Hell Yeah.
All right, I don't know. I'm lost. Go ahead.
It was released on PlayStation 3, and it was PlayStation Move compatible. Does that help you in any way?
Yes, I know exactly what it is. I think I know what it is. Is it the iPets? Because my little sisters had this.
Oh, no! It is Little Big Planet 2.
Oh! I've played Little Big Planet 2.
PlayStation Move compatible.
It's very... All right, just going back to peripherals for a second. It's also PS Vita compatible, but in an extremely unique way, because there was a particular level that you had to download for both the PS3 and the Vita. If you had Little Big Planet Vita, then there was a level that you could download, and the idea was that it was a second screen for a second player, and the other player would be playing on the TV. So if the other player on the TV gets to a point in the level where there's a puzzle that they can't get past, it's because only the person using the PS Vita can do it using either the front touchscreen or the rear touchpad. And so you had to work together on these two different consoles to get through the level. Which was fantastic.
I remember seeing that when I was playing it myself.
Yeah.
Going, why can't I get through that? Because there'd be like a symbol that you couldn't, activate.
Yeah, that was it. It's because you needed the PS Vita, and you needed someone playing it at the time as two-player. So I do remember spending a lot of time on Little Big Planet 2 with my little sisters. There's very, very fond memories of that game.
So what you're telling me is, I just needed friends. It's the same old story. What I will say is, on the credits, there is a He just puts up with me. On the credits, there is a very, very sweet thing. The first thing that the end credits said of Little Big Planet 2 is dedicated to our families and friends. And I thought it was really sweet.
Yeah, it's a very heartfelt game. I love it. I think I might go back to it at some point because, yeah, they're fantastic games. So, moving on to the game that I've picked for you, just bear in mind, I don't know what this is. I don't know what it's about. I've never heard of it. There isn't even like a little picture for it, because on this website that we're looking at, there's tiny screenshots, like thumbnails, of the front cover for the game. So, for example, Elliot's Wario, I can see that it was Nintendo DS because it's got the white sort of strip on the left-hand side of it. This has got nothing. And it's Love Invaders, the Windows version, released 21 years ago in 2005.
I wanted you to ask, because I've literally got Love Invaders on the screen.
Oh, have you?
Kid you not. Yeah.
I need to look this up. Yeah. What is Love Invaders?
In the future, humans and friendly aliens have a weekly celebration where they reenact the battle of 1978 with bullets made of cake.
What?
So it looks like it was basically Space Invaders that you teamed up with the aliens, and basically, yeah, you just fired cake.
That's odd. That's very. Was this like an early Flash game or something?
Well, 2005. So let's have a look. Freeware, free to play, public domain. Doesn't look like it was a Flash game from the images. Looks like it was just genuinely sort of in EXE that you could download.
I was hoping that this would be some kind of dating sim, but I was horribly wrong. That genuinely looks quite interesting.
Yeah, I'll just look at it now. Later, everyone will have a picnic on the moon, is what it says.
Aww.
I wonder whether this is kind of... Dorian's going to kill me.
Go on.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy kind of inspires how that kind of reads.
Yeah. For anyone...
But no, that looks quite interesting.
Any of our listeners that has more hope in me that they should, yes, I am a guy that's into my pop culture. I've never seen or read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm very sorry.
And I have. That's quite surprising.
The tables have turned this week, indeed.
One day, we're going to have to record an episode where I try to big up Sony as much as I possibly can, and you have to do the same for Nintendo. We're not allowed to big up our console maker of choice.
That is fair. I think, we have to swap it around a bit and change it around, because I imagine that our listeners don't want to listen to just Nintendo and Sony fanboys, because you've got PlayStation Access and the Nintendo UK group for that.
Yep, and Nintendo Life as well. There's quite a few. But with that, Dorian, I think we've hit the 48 minutes around that sort of level now. So if it's good with you, I think we should call it and look forward to next week's episode.
Absolutely, yeah. We spent a lot of time talking about those. My apologies, but time flies when you're having fun. We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. Next week, we're not going to tell you what we're talking about. We're just going to leave it as a surprise. But if you do have any recommendations or anything you'd like to hear us talk about, feel free to pop a comment down on your platform of choice. We will see you guys next week in the new episode. Ciao.
Take care. Ciao.
Enter to